Okay, here I want to look at two functions. We're going to look at the domains of the functions. So the first two things we have to remember is we can never have a negative under the radical, and we can never have a zero in the denominator. A zero in the denominator makes the function undefined. So the first thing I do here, if this example, f of x is equal to 6 over x minus 3, I know that x minus 3 cannot be equal to 0. Yes, people do it different ways. Sometimes x minus 3 equals 0 and find the point of discontinuity, but I'm going to show it like this. X minus 3 cannot be equal to 0. So x cannot be equal to 3. Of course, we add the negative 3 on the other side. So this is saying that we can plug any number into this function and be okay, except for what? 3. All right, x cannot be equal to 3. So how do we express this in interval notation? That means negative infinity up to 3, and then union 3 to infinity. What this is saying, any number from negative infinity to 3 and any number from 3 to infinity is okay. Basically any number except for what? 3. All right, so that's how we write it in interval notation. Now here we have the square root of 8 minus 2x, and we have to find the domain. Okay, what are the conditions where this function can exist? So here we know that if we remember the rules for a radical, eight minus 2x has to be greater than or equal to 0. Okay, so here what we want to do, I'm going to subtract 8 from both sides. That's negative 2x is greater than or equal to negative 8. And then we divide both sides by negative 2. Now, if we remember, every time that we divide by a negative, when dealing with inequalities, we change the sign. So x has to be less than or equal to 4. Any number larger than 4 will give you a negative under the radical, which, like I said, can't happen. So now x has to be less than or equal to 4. 4 is the maximum number, the largest number that we can put here. So how do we express this in interval notation? Go from negative infinity all the way up to 4. But since 4 is actually included in the domain, we can put 4 in. We don't use parentheses. We use the brackets. All right, so here are two quick examples of how we use the interval notation and how we find the domain of functions.